251 Live food. Nagram ties up my collapsed partner with lots of rope, tying her like a bagworm moth. She glares at Nagram in protest. Will this really be okay, I wonder? Yarg mutters in worry. It's rope made to tie down a graph ant. It should be okay. She might be a demi-human, but she's ultimately human like us, Nagram replies, sounding like he's trying to convince himself. I haven't seen a graph ant before, but I guess it's some sort of monster. Hearing Nagram's words, my partner puts strength into her arms. She strains against the rope. Shouldn't be an issue, she transmits. Don't go trying to tear it apart yet. However, to drink that much more's poison and to still be so healthy is. Her resistance to poison is a bit strong, that's all. My father told me that by their nature, demi-humans are even harder to catch than monsters. My partner's line of sight has been locked onto Yarg for a while now. Since I share her vision, I can't see her face, but I can imagine the sullen look on her face. Meeting her eyes, Yarg looks away slightly. It looked like he intentionally averted his eyes. He must have some feelings of guilt. Nagram-sama, if we give this demi-human as live food, isn't there a chance the manticore could be injured? If we cause offense, we could be put upon by strange requests again. If we give her tied up, it should be fine. As expected, we're going to be sacrificed to the manticore. Since he said it's giving them requests, I can imagine it's not attacking people indiscriminately and has requested they deliver regular sacrifices to it instead. Oh yeah, I suppose it was a bit strange that the manticore was in the dragon god shrine. The children I saved from there had masks on. At the time, I'd thought that all members of the Lithivar tribe wore them, but thinking back it was only ever those two and the group that came to deliver my tributes. I can assume the masks have something to do with the dragon god, but that doesn't explain why those two had them. I can't be certain, but could the masks be for the children being given as live food? If this village has a practice of offering sacrifices to the manticore, then it's not strange to imagine that the other village does the same. If that's the case, then Arrow would have been a sacrifice. That would wear away at her mother. Being told that the village had decided that your child would be sacrificed to some monster. The manticore might see humans as a delicacy. If it were to eat them freely, a village of this scale would be emptied in no time. I can guess that's why it's only been eating a few children. However, that ends today. We'll arrive in front of the manticore, undo our humanization technique, then bite it to death. Gah! My partner lets out a low moan through her clenched teeth. I understand your feelings, but please hold it in. Looking like he remembered something upon hearing her moan, Yarg clasps his right hand with his left. Yarg, should I ask someone else? And no, I was the one who brought her here after all. Yarg's right hand is wrapped in bandages. Those fingers, they aren't growing back. All that rest can do is stop the bleeding and accelerate the natural healing process at best. It's awkward for both of us, so hurry up and bring us to the manticore. Yarg steps into a deeper room and returns with a human-sized sack and a round, animalian cloth mask. Are you planning on hiding our face with that mask? That's completely a bingo. As Yarg moves to put the mask on her, the sound of my partner grinding her teeth rings out. He hesitates for a second but soon resumes. With the mask on, he lies her down on the floor and pulls the sack over her. However, what I'm worried about is the time. All we have left of humanization technique is 30 minutes at most. If they don't take us to the manticore right away, it'll be a problem. If it starts to look like time is running out, I'll need to think of a way out. Yarg picks up the sack containing my partner and carries her outside. On the way, I hear the sounds of people talking and walking around. However, after some time has passed, all I hear is the sound of Yarg's footsteps. We must be getting close to the manticore, I hope. Hey, Tadark, it's me. Yarg stops walking and calls out to someone. Yarg-san, that.
Who is that?
A voice comes in reply. Although he spoke respectfully, his voice is low, so I get the impression that he's old. A traveler. She's a demi-human, so her strength is fearsome, but we've bound her with rope. Finally, we've reached the final inspection. But it looks like we'll be fighting the manticore without any MP. It's unfortunate, but I think we should still be able to win just by throwing ourselves at it. The other children? Won't they untie her? It's anti-monster rope. Nagram-sama tied it as tight as he could. As weak as they are, I can't imagine they'll be able to undo it. That would be the case, yeah. There are other sacrifices too? As I'm pondering the implications of that, the bag is placed on the ground. Together, Yarg and Tadark start to take her out of the bag. Finally, I can see the surroundings. In front of us, a rocky mountainside spreads out. In gaps between gray rocks, the occasional tree is sprouting. As I'd thought, Tadark is older than Yarg. His age is a bit hard to place, but I'd say he's around 30. His gaunt face, his leanness, and his poor skin makes me want to estimate him as older though. Clearly acquainted with the area, the two of them work together to push a boulder. The boulder moves, revealing a hole beneath it. Tadark peers into the hole and shakes his head in misery. As an outsider, Nagram-sama said it's a good job for you, but it doesn't look like you're suited to watch over the live food.
Should I let him know?
Yarg calls out to Tadark, who stands up straight and looks back at him. That is not the case. Please leave it to me. Yarg stares at Tadark distrustfully, but soon returns to beside us. Holding us by our waist, he carries us to the hole. Traveler. If you would resent us, then res dash. Peh. My partner spits at Yarg's face from point-blank range, before jumping into the hole herself. The drop's not far, 2 meters at most. With our strength, even restrained, it's no problem. But, partner. I'm not going to say that was bad, but... Something to complain about? No, it's nothing. Sorry, I should be thanking you if anything. You've really been holding it in. I can't expect you to always match my thinking. My partner looks around at the surroundings. We're in a wide cave, the ceiling higher than the drop from the entrance in most places. It varies throughout, but it's about 3 meters high. Though it's bare rock as far as the eye can see, there's lots of gaps above, letting light trickle in, so it's not all that dark. In the depths of the cave, I catch sight of 10 girls. They range from about 6 to 10 years old. Judging from their appearance, I've no doubt they're lithivars. Scattered around the girls are masks. 3 of the girls are still faithfully wearing theirs. All of them are wearing dark expressions, gathered on a dirty rug in a corner of the cave. There's no way they couldn't have noticed us, but they hardly give any reaction at all. Oi.
What is this place?
My partner calls out. After a few seconds pass, a girl in the front of them raises her head and looks at her. Is Wani-san too also being offered as live food? Offered? That's wrong, I did it myself.
That so?
My partner spits out her reply, shaking herself as she does. Her mask drops to the floor. The girl tilts her head, but I don't hear her say anything else. This isn't going how I'd hoped. The manticore's not here, it's just a place to lock up live food for it. We're almost out of humanized time. If it was just us here, I'd like to undo it and start regenerating some MP, but with people here that's a little hard. Should we tear off the rope and fall back for now? If we do that, we won't know the manticore's whereabouts, and if we search for it later, there's a good chance we'll be spotted by a Miko from this village. Besides, our chance of taking it by surprise will plummet. However, the chance of it coming by in the next 30 minutes has got to be small too. 1. The word for demi-human here is Ajin, which can be a catch-all for any fantasy race like dwarves, orcs or selkies. Japanese works often include them under the umbrella of humankind, though it implies subhuman. 2. Wani-san, older sister/nice lady. 252. The Cave of Sacrifices. My partner looks around the cave. The girls who are being sacrificed are split into 2 groups, those who are staring at her with looks of incomprehension and those who are sitting in languid uninterest. It doesn't look like they're happy to see us. Far from it, in fact. Kiho kiho. While I'm wondering what to do, the girl in front starts coughing. Based on how she was speaking with my partner earlier, she seems fairly mature. The girls around her look at her in concern, but none of them call out. They might not have the energy to. It seems there's at least some food for them in the cave. Dried meats and shriveled vegetables wrapped in dirty cloth are piled in the back, flies gathering around them. There are 5 barrels of water lined up, but no cups in sight. They must all be scooping the water out with their hands. Their hygiene condition isn't good at all. To wash their bodies, all they can do is scoop the water over themselves. There's no way that's something they can do readily. Plus, they're all living together in such a cramped space. It wouldn't be strange if some disease were to spread. Is there nothing we can do? They're a small tribe after all, so it would have to be like this. Rather, it seems like this would be strengthening their disease resistance. I just wish I could summon the ball rabbit and have it used clean until it would run out of MP. It's unfortunate, but I don't have the time to be worrying about their living conditions. I need to be thinking about how to get away. If we undo the humanization here, the guard outside would hear the panic for sure. If we want to make sure we aren't seen when we undo it, we need to leave soon while we still have MP.
I'll go tonight.
My body won't last much longer. A voice interrupts my thinking and my partner looks towards the speaker. It's the girl who was coughing earlier. She's speaking soothingly to the girls around her, a bitter smile on her face. From what she said, it seems that at night, a single person is taken to the manticore. Night, huh? I haven't got nearly enough MP. Should we fall back for now, then try and locate the manticore before humanizing to get it to lower its guard? However, I'm worried about our lack of information. We won't be able to pretend to be a sacrifice again, and if we try to drive it into a corner, it'll just get away again. I'm still not very familiar with the area, so I'd probably fall behind it in a chase, and there's still too much that I don't know about this village. However, I should be able to get the manticore to pull away from this village for now. Hey partner, I'd like for us to do some light information gathering before leaving and searching for the manticore. Is that okay?
What should I ask?
What's most important is the manticore's whereabouts, as well as the relation between this village and the other. If we can learn that, we should be able to limit the damage. There are other things I'm curious about, but there's no need to ask about them now. I can always ask the dragon gods Miko Hibi later.
Got it, leave it to me.
Seeing how nervous you were talking to Yarg earlier, that's reassuring to hear. If you start struggling, then just the manticore's approximate location is fine, okay? I was just a little bit offbeat, that's all.
I see. That's fine then.
Still tied up, she skillfully rises to her feet and approaches the children. She looks at each of the children in turn, then fixes her gaze on the girl in front who was talking earlier. Certainly, this girl looks like the best to hear from. She seems sensible and she seems like the eldest here.
Hey, I heard earlier, but what is this place?
Are you humans locked in here as food for a monster? My partner speaks surprisingly smoothly. You can talk easily with children then. The girl raises her head. This is... Kiho.
Huh?
This is... Kiho.
It hurts.
Water, let me drink. Holding her throat, she reaches for a barrel. Another girl staggers to her feet and scoops water between her hands, bringing it the first girl.
Che, how annoying.
Hi rest. My partner chants, and the girl is enveloped in light.
Kiho. It doesn't hurt as much?
The underlying illness might not have been cured, but the return of her strength will have alleviated her symptoms. Confused, the other children surround her, touching her body in amazement. She blinks, then fixes her gaze at my partner. With this, she should be able to talk easier. My partner proudly transmits her thoughts. Our MP situation has become a little dire. No, compared to humanization technique, high rest's cost should be tiny. One shot should be fine. Though our dwindling MP has been reduced even more.
Amazing. Wani-san, are you a white mage?
This girl's eyelid swelling, can you also cure it? The children shuffle over towards us. This really isn't a nice environment. It's hard for them to see their feet and there are pointy rocks all over the place. Germs will get in since it's unclean and there's no chance for them to dress the wounds. That's why there's no way we have enough MP spare to heal them all. We're already running low from humanizing as it is. I feel bad for them, but here we should. There's no helping it then. You lot, line up for me. My partner says that, and one of the girls takes the hand of another, pulling her forwards. That girl's eyes are shut closed, her gait unsteady. She must be the girl with swollen eyelids that was mentioned earlier. Partner San, did you hear what I said just now? You're just enjoying being fawned over by the kids, oi. Time is running out. If we undo the humanization this close to the village, there's no telling what would happen. If we're unlucky, the relationship between the villages could get even worse. Hi Resta. She chants and the swelling in the girl's eyelid dies down. Various other swellings and scratches on her heel too. The surrounding children cry out in joy. The girl feels at her eyelids with her hand, then opens her eyes. Amazing. My eye, I can see. And I was really cold before, but now I'm warm. That's great and all, but partner San? Hey, hurry up, next in line. It's only until I change my mind, okay? The children descend on her. She treats each of them in turn. Thank you very much, Wani-san. This much is no biggie.
What might your name be?
I have no name worth giving. Within a few minutes she's assembled a harem. The dark atmosphere inside the cave is dispelled, becoming lively. That's fine, but I'm not happy about this. Time. We're out of time. What are you doing acting all cool for? You've got a massive smile on your face. I can tell, you know. As long as we leave soon, it'll be fine, right? Even if we listen to what they have to say now, we should have plenty of time left over. I want to get away from this village so they can't see, though. We'll be fine. I just need to jump out, knock down the guard, and run away, right? We've got plenty of time. This dragon brain. There's no guarantee they won't come chasing after us. We have no idea what the common sense of this area is. If you drain our MP without thinking like that, then if something unexpected comes up, we won't. If I quickly get the questioning over with and quickly run away, you won't have any complaints, right? I've gotten their trust. I have to wonder if giving up on the questioning and running away would be better now. I'll get it over with quickly, so don't worry. Well, it's true that with this, the questioning should go smoothly. The rope, I'll untie it. One of the girls moves around to behind us and touches the rope. Following her, some of the other kids also circle behind. Es stiff. This rope's for tying down big monsters. Ash horrible. This is horrible. I can take it off myself, so there's no need. Gurrah. Twisting her body, she bites at the rope with sharp teeth. Straining with all her might, she then weakens the rope to the point that she can shave at it with a nail. Once enough has been shaved away, she stretches her arms out mightily. The rope tears apart and falls to the ground. Yeah, with this body, I can't put that much power into it. Stepping on the remains of the rope, she cracks her neck. Amazing. That rope can even hold down a Grafant, Wani-san, who exactly? The girls chatter happily. It seems like things go better for you. Whenever I've interacted with people, there's always been some sort of complication. No, I suppose it went well with those lithivars earlier too. That's nothing worth clamoring over, you know. So noisy. Oi, you're panting a bit. 253 Information gathering. There's some stuff I want to ask about. That okay? My partner asks, and the girls around her nod their heads, looking at her with tense expressions. We're finally getting to what I've been yearning for in the minutes since we got here. There's 2 villages here, right? This one and the other, how are they related? Our village separated from that one. Separated? My partner asks, and the girls all nod their heads. This time, a different girl opens her mouth. Originally, I heard that our village used to worship a double-headed dragon god. Through the decades, it would stay in the area for a few years. It would protect us and reduce the enemies that would harm us. I was wondering where the dragon god had gone, but I guess it always left after a few years. It would go when the number of abysses dropped, then come back when they've multiplied. Rather than a god, isn't it just an abyss hunter? No, the people here were super grateful for it though. However, I still have no idea what the dragon god was thinking. If you're going to be here, then just stay here all the time. If the dragon god were to unexpectedly come back, I don't know what face I should have. The man-eating monster one, the manticore, first appeared before I was aware of my surroundings. It was over 12 years ago, apparently. 12 long years, that creature's been here. 3 years after it appeared, the dragon god came back. Everyone thought that we were saved, but it seems the dragon god fled upon seeing the manticore. Not only that, but a Miko of the dragon god proposed that we offer live food to the manticore to limit the damage. And so, 3 years after that, the dragon god came back. Everyone thought that we were saved, but it seems the dragon god fled upon seeing the manticore. Not only that, but a Miko of the dragon god proposed that we offer live food to the manticore to limit the damage. And so, that was heavier than I was expecting. At the most important moment, you weren't any help at all, Dragon God-san. Gwa. My partner's also displeased to hear that as she lets out a low groan. Hey, your dragon is showing. At that time, a faction who distrusted the dragon god emerged and became unable to stay in that village. As a result, they all migrated here. I see. So those are their circumstances. The people of that village treat these people with coldness, and the people of this village don't like the dragon god, I understand. Though, since the manticore came here, in the end this village has had to do as the hated dragon god Miko suggested and offer up sacrifices. A person with strong blood of a dragon god Miko was poached from them, so our relations became strained. For us to fight monsters, a Miko's power is necessary, which is why. I'd thought there was a Miko in this village, but I guess she's not the religious type. She's simply being treasured thanks to her ability to detect monsters. She looked the same, so I jumped to the wrong conclusion. Well then, now there's the matter of the manticore's whereabouts. But we're seriously reaching the limit of our MP. That's all, partner. After asking, withdraw. It might have been better to prioritize asking about the manticore. Though, if I didn't know about their circumstances, I could have messed up somehow later. I'm glad that I properly understand now, but all that's left is to hear its direction, then quickly escape. Got it. After sending me a message, she faces the children.
Hey, which way's the manticore?
Eh? The entrance is here, so it's that way? But, on the way there's the river and mountain, so. I'll draw it on the ground. The direction is enough. It sounds like the route is complicated. That's not good. I have presence perception, so I should be able to find it, but if the manticore notices us, it's over. Our fathers said they build a shrine to put it in a good mood, which should be obvious if you see it.
But why do you want to know?
They've done that much for it? My partner turns away from the girls, looking at the hole she came in from. Oi, you lot. My partner will do something about it, so there's no need to look so down. I'll be taking my leave here. She says that, then immediately starts to move.
Why you're going outside?
That's impossible. The hole is that high. And besides, you'd need someone to remove the boulder covering it first. Even if you're somehow able to get outside, there's the guard.
Even for Wani-san, that's impossible.
She kicks off the wall, nailing the boulder covering the hole with a flying kick. Not only does the boulder not budge at all, she is sent slamming into the ground by the recoil of her kick.
Oh. Shit.
Grr.
WHY?
Even with our status halved, that should have been plenty of force to send a rock like that flying. Could our human body be getting weaker the less MP we have? We overstayed after all.
Wani-san.
Are you okay? Please pull yourself together. The girls all rush around her. Something, I need to think of some way of escaping. Judging from how she moved, she should still be stronger than an average human. Partner, the ceiling. There's all those gaps in the ceiling, right? Do any of them look weak enough to break? Hey, partner? Partner-san? She raises her arm.
It's shivering.
My bad.
This is the limit.
No.
That's bad.
Like really bad. It might be best to undo it ourselves. My body's becoming really heavy. This is why I said we should leave right away. No, I was okay with it too, but still.
What should we do? What's the right thing to do?
Calm down, me. Let's abandon plan A and go with what's next best. From what I heard, if I can stop the manticore, this village's hate for the dragon god should fade. Should we break the ceiling by returning to dragon form while being careful that the entire cave doesn't collapse? I won't like it, but I'll threaten the guard to get him to guide us to the manticore. When we get close enough, we'll humanize again to lower its guard. Let's go with that. Though if I make the guard into a guide, there's a chance he could lead me into some sort of trap. The dragon god isn't trusted here, so I have to be ready for something like that. Also, if I take the guard but leave the sacrifices, the manticore might notice and run away. It's not a perfect plan, but it'll have to do. If I can drive the manticore away from this village and improve their impression of the dragon god while I'm at it, it's not terrible. I'm undoing it, partner. My bad. Why, you don't need to apologize that much. I also miscalculated, or rather I made the wrong decision in the spur of the moment. Besides, it's not like the manticore has run away yet. I know what to watch out for. We were able to grasp their circumstances, so I no longer have to worry about misreading the situation later. This time, we'll be able to beat down the manticore. Our humanization technique is undone, and our body swells as though being pushed from the inside. Our skin becomes stiff, and a second head sprouts from our shoulders. My vision cuts out, and then I open my eyes in the darkness. I glance at my partner's head beside me. Great, I returned without problems. Kaya. No way. Owani-san is Dr. Dragon God. The girls start making a lot of noise. I knew this would happen. The peaceful atmosphere from earlier has inverted, becoming murky. Among the girls standing in shock, one of them glares at me and picks up a stone from around her feet. Why you were deceiving us? She throws the stone, hitting the knee of my foreleg. No damage is done. My Ouroboros body surface carelessly reflects it. Oi. My partner throws a thought at me. No point feeling sorry for yourself. Let's go already. I was worried she was going to attack them for a moment. She really is strong. She was enjoying being with them so much, so I thought she would be a bit more depressed by this reaction. I'm not as weak as you. Most of the girls are either bewildered by us or else are terrified. The rest are, like the girl who threw the stone, glaring at us in hostility. No wonder. Growing up in this village, the adults around them must have always been sharing their grudges about the dragon god. I was also the one who drove the manticore towards their village. I was really hoping to be able to get along with them, but there's no helping it. After all, from a human's perspective, a dragon is always going to be some giant monster. Liar! Liar! The girl from earlier is crying as she shakes her arms. Please stop! One of the girls shouts out. It's the girl who announced herself as the next sacrifice when we first entered the cave, the one who seems like the eldest. The girl who was shouting in anger twitches, indignant. But the dragon god. Who do you think it was that healed us? Who healed the arm you used to throw that stone? But. As she's talking back, she lets her arm fall loosely to her side. The stone she's holding drops to the ground. Then she collapses on the spot, bursting into tears. At this rate, isn't there a chance we'll be able to make amends somehow? I thought so at the start too, but that girl, she really is mentally tough. The word used to describe the manticore is bakemono, rather than the more common momono, both of which can only really be translated into English as monster. Bakemono implies a folklore creature that might be able to shapeshift, whereas momono is more associated with modern fantasy. 254 Escape Guide. At the moment, the inside of the cave is calm. We're no longer leaving right away and are staying here for now instead. At this rate, we'll be able to recover our MP in here. By the time the guard changes shift in the evening, we'll have plenty of MP to humanize again. Having the sacrifices guide us should be more reliable, and we'll be able to surprise the manticore this way. When searching for it, I'd like to avoid being noticed first or letting the villagers see me and cause trouble. So far our interactions have gone okay, but that's because we've been interacting with children who have yet to solidify their worldviews, so I can't imagine it would go so well with adults. The atmosphere in the cave is worse than when we were humanized. The children are watching cautiously while maintaining their distance. The eldest girl from earlier is sitting closest to me. It's as if she's not frightened, but rather it looks more like she's taking responsibility for what she said earlier. My MP is gradually recovering as we rest. At this rate, we'll be full in a few hours. That should be fast enough to fight the manticore. If nothing unexpected occurs, we should be able to be led to the manticore without problem. Dragon God Sama, you, why exactly are you in here? You could break out at any time. Even now. The eldest girl timidly calls out. I could use humanization technique to explain, but I want to focus on recovering my MP. She'll have to figure it out from the results. If I humanize to answer each of her questions, then if I'm unable to humanize when the guard checks on us, I won't be able to look her in the eyes. I reach out with my foreleg and scratch the ground. The manticore's appearance flashes into my mind. A leopard-like body. And a head that's a cross between a human and a lion. I draw the manticore with my claw as I'm recalling. But the lines are rough, making it look like a child's drawing. I used to be able to make pottery. I really have become clumsy. I'm using a forefoot, not a hand after all, so there's no helping it. Well, I can always humanize to become more dexterous. The girl doesn't seem to understand my drawing as she's frowning and tilting her head. I add a tail to the drawing and a stinger on the end of it. Manticore? She mutters, finally understanding. That tail is its characteristic feature after all. I nod, taking care not to bump into the ceiling. I then stab my claw into the manticore's body, gouging the ground. The girl raises her head, looking into my eyes. Are you going to defeat the manticore? She asks searchingly. She seems to have some doubts. Go. I growl and nod in reply, and the girl's expression crumbles as she gulps. She might have covered for me earlier, but that doesn't mean she completely trusts me either. It conflicts with what she's been taught all her life, so she's not going to be so readily convinced. But I'm just grateful for her that she created an atmosphere that lets me stay. From then on, time passes in the uncomfortable atmosphere. I lie with my belly on the ground as I focus on recovering my magic power. While my partner is sleeping with her eyes closed, I am observing the other children through half-open eyes. They seem to be putting on a brave front, but there's no way they're not bothered by me. They're surrounding the eldest girl and myself, watching over us. Eventually, the cave is dyed the color of the setting sun, red light filtering in through the ceiling. My MP has long been filled. All that's left to do is wait for the guard to change, then go and beat up the manticore. This time, I won't let it get away. I hear the sound of footsteps above the cave. Finally, the change of guard has arrived. I should humanize. I'm counting on you again, partner. They're earlier than normal. The eldest girl whispers that to me. I hear the clunking sound of something being struck above the cave. I look up to see something swinging down from a gap in the ceiling. What are they doing? Could someone have come to rescue us? From what she said, there's a good chance it's not the guard. That reminds me, Yarg and Tatark worked together to move the boulder covering the entrance. Meaning someone is trying to get in by themselves this time. And no, that's great, but please come on a different day. It's admirable that you want to come save girls who are being sacrificed. Just don't come when I'm already here. I'll save them, you know? I'll defeat the manticore in front of them. For that matter, what's the guard doing? Isn't he here for times like this? What's happening? Is there someone pulling the strings from the shadows to get in my way? Panicking, y activat humanisation technique. Heat runs through my body as it shrinks. I focus my attention on my head, which I smoothly make sink into my body. The world becomes dark, and then I'm sharing my partner's vision again. Nice, it seems I've gotten better at controlling it. I lose control of my body as my partner starts to move it. Normal skilled humanization technique has risen from level 7 to 8. It went up. We've been using it lots today after all. My partner touches her head as she shakes her neck, checking her body. When we returned to dragon form earlier, she hurriedly took off her clothes, making them even more ragged and torn than before. Perhaps we should have stripped a bit more carefully. No, we were in a hurry, so it couldn't have been helped. Like before, something strikes the ceiling and fragments of rocks fall. The gap opens wide enough and evening light shines into the cave. A spotlight of red light shines down into the center. Oh wait, listen up. I hear a voice from above the hole. For that matter, this voice is. The person peering down through the hole is the guard, Tatark. It's you? That explains why the guard wasn't doing his job. That reminds me, didn't he say that Tatark's an outsider and that his personality wasn't suited for the task? Isn't this a complete failure of personnel selection? Including the girl with Miko blood, all the key figures are having a meeting in the village right now. Even if you make some suspicious movements, they won't notice anything until later. Get away from here while you can. Upon hearing the voice, the inside of the cave suddenly becomes noisy. But even if we run, where? The girls let out sounds of confusion. Go to the Dragon God village. I heard earlier. The Dragon God has returned to that village. Hearing Tatark's voice, all of the girls turn to look at my partner in unison. And no, I understand your feelings, but it looks suspicious, so please stop. Probably, the Dragon God drove the manticore off. That's why the manticore came to the smaller village. If you go there, you should be safe. I've been there, so I know. I can't think of any other reason why the manticore would come over here where there's less people. That'll be what he meant by outsider. Tatark came here from the Dragon God village. Adults aside, they wouldn't leave children to die. There might be some opposition, but please, believe in me. Originally, the village split because of a distrust in the Dragon God's power. As Tatark says, returning to the village under the protection of the Dragon God is the most sensible way for the humans of this village to escape the manticore. Though that's contingent on the people of that village letting them in, of course. Thinking back to the Dragon God Miko's conduct earlier, I can tell they have some degree of resentment for the people of this village. That'll be why Tatark said adults aside, I'm guessing. Hearing Tatark's voice, the girls start making noise. Drove away the manticore? The manticore is? While saying this, they're staring forcefully at my partner. Since the Dragon God gave up on fighting the manticore once before, the Dragon God should be weaker than it. That'll also be why the manticore jumped at me right away when it first saw me. It must have wanted to punish the Dragon God for misjudging its strength and loitering around its home. The eldest girl looks at me in astonishment before dropping her gaze to my scrawl from earlier. 255 two options. I'm throwing down a rope. Please climb out as fast as possible. Tadark shouts down while I'm thinking. Seriously, what should I do here? If we join them in running away, letting ourselves get caught will become pointless. I don't know how the manticore will react to its sacrifices breaking out, nor can I predict how the village will react. If we're unlucky, the village could fall into chaos, tipping the manticore that something was off. What's your plan in having us flee? Won't other children get brought here instead? The eldest girl says, looking up at Tadark. He shakes his head in response. This village is already on its last legs. The manticore has been demanding sacrifices heedless of the low population. At this rate, in 2 years' time, there will have no girls left. I haven't heard anything like that. It was hidden from the children. Nagram-sama was planning to start a war with the Dragon God village in order to kidnap children. That Asen one was planning to do such a thing? Even if he's got no other way, that's not an option, surely. But the reason the manticore came to this village was the Dragon God's return. The Dragon God is there, so there's no way this village can do anything to them. This village is over. The children fall into silence. That would shock them, yeah. To hear that their hometown would soon be wiped out. The manticore seems to be aiming specifically for children, but I can't predict how it will act when it loses them. Either they'll be ruined by the disappearance of the children, or the manticore will eat them all. Either way, it might not be inevitable, but their outlook's not good. Tadark-san, will you also come to the Dragon God village? One of the girls opens her mouth. Tadark bites his lip in silence for a few seconds, before shaking his head. Just the other day, I abandoned them. To get accepted here, I told this village about their war potential, the states of their fields, everything. Tadark says in a heavy voice, hanging his head. For the sake of that village, the Dragon God would pass a ruthless judgment on me. If I go there, I'll be burnt alive by dragon breath to be made an example of. To burn someone to death, their god must have been really scary. As I'm thinking that, the girls all turn to look at my partner in unison. Mixed into their crying faces and scared faces are faint looks of reproach and disappointment. Please wait a sec. I'm not going to do anything like that. For that matter, you've got the wrong dragon. There were those 3-headed camels all over the desert, so there's got to be lots of 2-headed dragons out there. Even though the only one I've seen is my own reflection in the water's surface. Ha, GAA. My partner takes a step back, faltering. Oi, your dragon is showing again. I will stay here and propose reconciliation with the other village to Nagram-sama. It's likely that today's meeting has already touched on that topic. If all the sacrifices have run away, Nagram-sama's alternatives will be reduced. Reconciliation, from my point of view, that would be the best possible outcome, though I wonder if it'll really go so well, since it looked like their antagonism runs quite deep. Though even if persuading Nagram-sama goes well, I'll most likely be killed for intentionally narrowing his options. In the first place, there's no guarantee the Dragon God side won't spurn a peace deal and massacre us instead. If one mistake is enough for everyone to die, then that's no good. Either way, this Asen's going to die. Even though rescue has come, the children look like they can't say anything. Will they sacrifice themselves to save their hometown, or will they run away and shorten their hometown's lifespan? It's a cruel decision. As a bonus, the person who is proposing their escape, Tadark, is asking them to abandon him as they flee, so it'd feel bad through and through. And no, if I look at it differently, couldn't it be a chance for me? In that village, the Dragon God should be able to speak out on important matters or punishments. Indeed, it was there that the plan to offer sacrifices came about, and Tadark said something along the lines of "There's no way the Dragon God would permit me to return now." If that's the case, then I should hold quite a lot of sway. With my crane's voice, with my dragon's voice, not only should I be able to push the reconciliation through, I should be able to avoid having the blame forced on anyone. However, the risk involved is high. If we aim for reconciliation, then it's clear that it would be disastrous if we can't get Nagram to agree. In the worst case, the manticore slips away and war breaks out. It's best not to rush here. If I choose to push forward reconciliation now, a single mistake would spell this village's doom. As long as I'm recognized as the Dragon God, there'll be another chance at it. It's not what I should be prioritizing while we're in a situation where lives are at risk. Besides, there's something about the Dragon God that I can't overlook. There's something that unsettles me, something that doesn't feel right. Oi Asen. Plug the hole back up and stand watch. My partner calls out to Tadark.
Ashu? How are you?
The rope? For tonight's sacrifice I'll go. You just gotta go back to the front entrance. I'll send that monster flying. She points to herself with her thumb as she declares. From around us I hear the sounds of gasping. The sacrificed children seem to finally understand the reason we came here. There's no way you could. You can only say that because you've never seen the manticore. It's not a monster that a person can handle.
Never mind that, hurry up and climb.
Please climb up. The one with Miko's blood has strangely good intuition. I don't know when they'll come chasing after you. In response to his appeal, no one moves at all. The one person who doesn't know what's happening, Tadark, looks around the cavern.
Someone. Hurry.
If you don't run away now, Nagram-sama will think he can still curry favor from the manticore and will proceed with his war preparations. But as long as that ruthless dragon god is around, he doesn't stand a chance of winning. He'll just be pointlessly making corpses. That's why, not just for yourself, but for the village too. The eldest girl stands up, looking around at the other girls. Even though they look bewildered, in the end they all nod their heads. Having gotten each person's approval in turn, she turns to my partner. My partner gives her a small nod, smirking. We will not run.
We will stay here.
Why?
At this rate, war will.
We believe in DRA in this person.
That's why we're staying here.
The eldest girl declares that. Tadark steps back weakly, grimacing. One Asen, middle-aged man. Two a crane's voices, a voice of authority. 256 departure. Once Tadark has gone back, I undo the humanization technique to return us to dragon form. We've got to conserve MP. I don't feel like we'd fall behind the manticore, but I want to be as sure as I can. I lay down on the ground with my eyes closed, resting my body.
Are you really Winnie-san?
Why? After so long.
All this time where?
That exchange earlier must have eased their fear, because the girls have begun calling out to us intermittently. I'm sorry, but I don't know where the dragon god went or what they've been doing all this time.
I'm sorry, but I don't know.
I open my eyes and glance at my partner. At the same time, she also turned to look at me. Our eyes meet and we give each other a small shake of the head. It's unfortunate, but I have no words of response for them. I'm not the same dragon as the former dragon god, but even so, I can't go throwing away my position as the dragon god. Even though I'm comfortable with their current misconception, I know I can't deceive them forever. However, I should wait until the problems have been dealt with to some extent before coming clean. If I had to leave them now, who knows how many would die? Dragon god Asama. The eldest girl calls out to me. Honestly, there's way too much that I don't know. I know it might be selfish of me to ask this, but that is. Please do your best. This girl, she really is mature. While I'm being impressed, my partner nods her head. Go H. This one's Winnie-san, right? WL spotted. She's perceptive.
Goo.
My partner purrs, clearly not dissatisfied. With the passage of time, the red light of evening fades. Soon, the cave is plunged into darkness. Only faint moonlight remains. If they're left like this every night, I can only imagine how disheartening it must be for them. While I'm thinking such things, I hear Yarg's voice.
Hey, it's time.
Move the boulder. All right. Tadark replies to Yarg and the entrance cover is removed. It seems the time of sacrifices is close. Finally, the time has come. I activate humanization technique, pulling my head into my body as I transfer control to my partner. Once again, I'm able to smoothly complete the transformation. Transformed, my partner picks up the rags of her clothes and reluctantly puts them on. Once she's finished, I finally notice. The rope that was binding us is still untied. If Yarg sees we're no longer restrained, won't he run away? Losing his fingers would have traumatized him. At least the arms, we have to tie up our arms. Hey, the rope? My arms, tie them up behind me, please.
Yes.
A look of wonder on their faces, the girls gather beside my partner. She turns her back towards them, holding her arms behind herself. They're able to frantically tie her arms somehow. It's not as tight as before, but it should be fine, I think. From above, I can hear Yarg and Tadark's conversation. Tadark, you're looking rather pale, you know. As I thought, you're not suited for the task. That is about the meeting. How will this village? We are not yet at the stage to inform recent outsiders such as yourself.
But.
Following Tatark's protest, a dull sound rings out.
Iaga.
I hear the sound of Tatark crouching down. Probably, Yarg hit Tatark on his chin with the blunt end of his spear. If you think it's dangerous here, why don't you try going back to that village and bowing your head? You obviously treasure your life that much. You really have no pride at all, do you, Tatark? Otherwise, how could you be so soon to change your loyalties?
That's not.
I feel my partner raising an eyebrow as she hears what Yarg said. Tatark Asen was proposing to sacrifice himself in order to get the hostages to a safety and was talking about trying to get the villages to reconcile. For that Tatark to be criticized as a coward, it certainly doesn't feel good. Today's your last as gatekeeper. I have Nagram Sama's orders, so I won't kill you, but as I thought, you can't be trusted. For someone like you, standing watch outside the village is an appropriate assignment. I'm going down to get today's live food. You'll wait here. Yarg says frostily, before dropping a rope into the cave. Seeing that, my partner sprints towards the entrance. Wait a second.
What are you doing?
She kicks off the wall, before springing off the wall again midair to launch herself past the rope and through the hole.
WH-.
Yarg, who was peering into the hole, leans back in astonishment. She somersaults through the air and knees him in his face.
But.
Yarg staggers and collapses to his knees. Holding his nose, he glares at her in disbelief. Oi, partner.
Huh?
I held back, so there shouldn't be anything to complain about. But this is the guy that served us poison, you know? If this goes badly, our plan will come to nothing. I understand your feelings, but please hold it in. That person, I didn't know what he said about the Asen, so maybe can't be helped, but still. How? Were the bindings loose? I dealt with it. Weren't you going to offer me as live food?
This bitch.
Yarg tries to stand up, but she forces his shoulder into the ground. She strains his joint to the limit of resistance. Stop. Stop. I get that you hate the guy, but seriously calm down for now. If you take it out on him now, those children are the ones who'll suffer. Che. She releases her hold on him and tosses him to the ground. Haha. As expected, you've no more energy to struggle. No, she actually has plenty though. What should we do, Yarg-san? We'll take her. If holding me down for a bit is the limit of her strength, she shouldn't anger the manticore. I was considering postponing giving her until her body grew weaker. But it was strange how she was able to slip out of the rope and kick off the wall to get out. So if we leave her, there's a good chance she'll escape. We should give her as live food before that.
That was close.
He was planning on leaving her for later. Her recklessness had a miraculously positive effect. Feel free to kick him some more.
It's okay?
Sorry, that was a joke. Please don't take it seriously. I forgot that you might actually do it. 257, third time with the manticore. Yarg ties up my partner's arms with fresh rope before taking the end of the rope and pulling her in the direction of the manticore. Behind, Tatark is aiming his spear at her head. In his other hand, he has a lantern-like container with glowing stones inside. Perhaps enduring since my partner kicked him, Yarg occasionally moves to hold his nose with his bandaged hand. Throughout the journey, many anxious glances are sent our way by Tatark. My partner glares at him and he looks away. Averting his eyes, he opens his mouth to speak. Soon, we'll be reaching the manticore. It should be expecting our arrival following the setting of the sun. At this time it should be salivating as it waits in the shrine. It makes sense that there's no guarantee it would stay in one place all day long. I wonder if it was asked to wait there by the girl with Miko's blood through telepathy. At this time of day, the manticore shouldn't be as cautious. Having the Lithovar tribe consistently bringing it gifts at this time would have that effect. Oi, Tatark. Don't make pointless conversation.
Yes.
Bowing to Yarg, Tatark again shifts his eyes to my partner. I get the feeling he's asking if she really plans to fight it. My partner ignores him, silently walking as she's pulled by Yarg. Finally, we arrive at an entrance to a large cave. Similar to the Cave of Sacrifices, it's a hollow in the rocky mountainside. However, this cave's entrance is much larger than that one, and it looks like it goes in deeper too. Around the entrance, the walls are carved in depictions of the manticore. The original cave must have been spruced up for it. It looks like it was true that there's various plans to put the manticore in a good mood. Yarg stops in front of the entrance, glaring back at my partner through thinned eyes. He's probably suspicious about her lack of resistance. Thinking about her conduct so far, his suspicion is well warranted. He's had the combo of his fingers being bitten off, his body being kicked flying, and his nose being broken by her, so it's no wonder.
Huh? What is it? Something's off.
Would it be better if I struggled? Yarg scowls at her, and his injured arm drops into view for a moment. It doesn't show on his face, but he must be remembering the pain of having his fingers bitten off. Relying on Tatark's lantern, we continue on into the cave. Though I hadn't realized it would be this stupidly big. It is similar in width to the red ant nest, and it's longer than I'd thought too. With this, I'm no longer worried that it simply grabs the offering and runs away. All that I'm worried about now is... This cave, is it a dead end? That's right. To my partner's murmur, Tatark replies. Great, that's what I wanted to confirm. Thanks, partner. Escape won't be easy then. Licking her lips, she stares into the depths of the cave.
Oi, Tatark. How many times have I told you to not have pointless conversations?
Yarg shouts at Tatark. He probably took my partner's speech as I can't easily escape from the manticore instead of the manticore can't easily escape from me. There's no way he could be thinking that she's aiming to kill it. The sound of my partner clicking her tongue rings out. The sound echoes throughout the cave, and in response I hear the sound of something large stirring in the depths. It sounded like something stood up. The footfalls of a huge beast draw closer. The manticore is coming. Yarg murmurs. There's a slight tremble in his voice. He must be scared. Suddenly, Tatark throws his lantern into the air, then turns his spear from my partner and charges forwards.
Tatark, what are you?
Yarg-san, please withdraw.
Fall back.
Tatark rams into Yarg's shoulder. Yarg staggers, releasing his grip on my partner's rope. Tatark swings his spear at the rope binding my partner's arms, but she nimbly dodges backwards to avoid it.
Egg.
As a result of her unexpected movement, Tatark overbalances and all falls down. He must have wanted to ensure that she could move freely before it gets here. However, as we want the manticore to lower its guard as much as possible, it's better if we keep our arms tied. Plus it'd only take a moment to break free.
Tatark. You bastard, what are you thinking?
You've been screwing around for a while now. Yarg yells as he regains his footing.
No.
Tatark looks between Yarg and my partner in confusion. Hey, by any chance, should I not have dodged that? My partner grumbles to me. And no, it's good that you avoided it. Well, it couldn't have been helped, I guess. I'd thought it might make things complicated, but it doesn't look like there's enough time for that. From the depths of the cave, accompanying the heavy footfalls, a familiar giant beast makes its appearance.
Gebbage Bajba.
We're finally meeting the manticore again. With its overwhelming size compared to humans and its leopard-human face, it's got a terrifying appearance. My body was a similar size when I met it before, so it's not particularly frightening to me, but from a human's perspective it's terrible. Seeing my partner, saliva drops from between its teeth. Yarg runs until he's put enough distance between himself and the manticore, then turns around. Live food, we have brought you live food. Yarg says to the manticore as though pleading. So please don't kill me, is what he was calling out to imply. That is the extent to which the Lithavar tribe views the manticore as an object of fear. 258, Partial Dragonization. My partner strains her arms as she glares at the manticore. It's finally okay to struggle, right? Wait a second. Before you get ready for battle, let me check its status. I want to eliminate any reason to be worried. Plus, if we can, I'd like to aim for the moment it shows an opening. Until we see an opening or it seems suspicious, please stay as you are. Fine, I'll be careful. Also, you should crush its legs. So if it's somehow able to slip away, we can chase it. When I undo the humanization, please focus on that as much as possible.
Che.
Arg, I got it already. I get why you're irritated, but it's gotten away from us 2 times now. It won't get a 3rd time. This time we'll take it down. Its status is Species, Manticore. Condition, Normal. LV, 73/80. HP, for 53/453. MEPE, 128/142. Attack, 413. Defense, 228. Magic, 194. Speed, 534. Rank, B. Characteristic skills. Nikomata, LV- Mitsu, LV4 Presence Sense, LV6 Grisha Language, LV1. Resistance skills. Physical resistance, LV4 Magic Resistance, LV5 Fire Attribute Resistance, LV3 Poison Resistance, LV2 Paralysis Resistance, LV4. Normal skills. Paralysis Claw, LV7 Paralysis Bite, LV8 Humanization Technique, LV8 Sandstorm, LV6 Needle Body, LV9. Title skills. Cunning, LV6 Obsession, LV6 Chaser, LV9 Cat's Pride, LV3 Wind Runner, LV7 Final Evolution, LV-. Great, it hasn't changed much. I also want to properly understand its characteristic skills. One of them should have something to do with the humanization technique. I don't want to rely on God's voice that much, but there's no helping it. Characteristic skill Nikomata? The user becomes good at deceiving people. A characteristic skill possessed mainly by cat-type monsters. The MP consumption of humanization technique is greatly reduced. As I thought, it's that one. It reduces MP consumption of humanization technique. I see. If I had the same skill collecting skill that the slime had, I'd want to steal it right away. I'll have to be careful that this sneak attack on it lands. Gebij Bajiba Giba? Perhaps suspicious that its live food is standing resolute, it glares at my partner. Indeed, if she doesn't act a bit more scared, it'd notice something's off. Even Yarg was that frightened of the manticore. There's no way that someone who was brought over to be live food for it could have this much composure. Partner, please act scared, little bit more scared. Ha, ha. She screams, scrabbling with the rope binding her arms, as she runs away from the manticore. She runs slowly, not in such a way as to create too much distance. That monotone scream was just a dragon sound though. That's why I wanted to cut your rope. Tedark shouts. I thought he was joining in on the act, but a look at his face makes it clear that's not the case. He's serious. The manticore moves to pin down my partner with its foreleg. Gebij Bajbij Baba. My partner stops running and turns around, tearing off the rope. Gaba. The manticore pins her with its forefoot, knocking her to the ground face up. Ga. The manticore's mouth splits open into an eerie smile. Arg. We got caught. With this, we can't aim for its feet anymore. Should I undo it already? No, not yet. It's not the right time yet. The moment of predation is when living things are at their most vulnerable. Let's aim for that. My partner struggles and the manticore frowns. She's not able to get out of its grip, however. During humanization technique, physical status values are halved. Our current strength isn't enough. Gebij Bajba. The manticore's mouth draws closer. Once it's close enough, the angle puts us in a blind spot. This is it. Ga. Howling, she swings her arm towards a fang. I focus on the arm. Heat runs through it as though our blood is boiling and it expands. The force of the impact of her fist raises a cloud of dust. The sensation of her claw tearing into the manticore's flesh is transmitted to me. Probably, that's the manticore's gums we're tearing through. She continues on to gouge out flesh with her claw, tearing it apart. Nerve and all, the manticore's fang flies out into the cloud of dust. Gabea! A scream resounds from deeper into the cloud, and I feel the manticore's presence receding. As the cloud of dust fades, I see that only our arm has expanded, becoming black and rugged. Only the arm has gone back to dragon form. The manticore did something similar earlier, so I tried it out and, as I'd thought, I can do it too. My partner kicks off the ground, chasing after the forefoot of the retreating manticore. Ga. Gaba. Her claw digs deeply into the flesh of its front leg. Its thick skin is split and chunks of meat dance through the air. Following up, she slams her fist into its chin. Its huge body scrapes across the ground as it's sent flying. Didn't have to hold on that long. She lets out a bitter complaint. Sorry.
What? What are you?
Yarg shouts while illuminating us with the lantern that Tadark had thrown. Nearby, Tadark's mouth opens in shock.
Oh!
Deeper in the cave, the manticore's eyes shine. This time, I fully undo humanization technique. Heat runs through our body as it swells in size. With our body returned to normal, the manticore's anger fades as its face pales. It's too late to notice we have the same skill as you.
Guoh.
Gaiah. I howl out together with my partner. 259, the end of human eating.
Yeba.
The manticore steps back. But we've already confirmed that way is a dead end that way. If it wants to get out, then it'll have to get past me. It's the dragon god. This is an absurdity.
Why? Why is the dragon god here?
I check behind to see Yarg pointing his spear at me. He's wielding the spear Tatark had. But both his arm and his voice are trembling, so it doesn't look like he'll charge at me anytime soon.
Gah.
My partner glares at him and he drops the spear and sinks to the floor.
Ewa. What? How did it come to this?
Sorry for scaring you so much. Rather than sit down, I'd rather you ran away though. Like Yarg, Tatark is staring at me with his eyes wide open. Oops, I can't just focus on what's behind me. I turn my attention to the manticore. It has stopped moving and is stomping its feet on the ground.
Gaba.
A sandstorm stirs up inside the cave. The already poor visibility from Yarg's lantern grows worse. The wind also is drowning out sound. That'll be the sandstorm a skill. Monsters in the desert use the same skill, but this is stronger. There's the effect of the higher skill level, but the confined area will also be boosting its power. It seems it's still deciding between making a break for it or trying to bring me down. I feel for the manticore with presence perception. Its presence moves in front of me to the left and right, then stops. That's unfortunate for you, manticore. If you could see my skills, there's no way you would try this strategy. The manticore suddenly jumps at me from diagonal left. The leg strength it was so proud of was shredded by my partner earlier. With its current level of speed combined with my ability to know its position, there's no way it could slip that attack by me. I twist, knocking the manticore out of the air with my tail. Gaba? At the moment it impacts the ground, my partner bites into it and slams it against the wall to her right. To the manticore that appears in front of my eyes, I follow it with a headbutt.
Geo?
The manticore falls to its back, tumbling with the impact of my headbutt. I move to chase after it, until I notice the manticore is looking behind me. Yarg and Tatark are behind me. Sensing something's wrong, I stop.
Gebage Bajba.
The manticore regains its footing as it braces its legs, pointing its tail forward. At the end of its tail is its round stinger. There's no way, is it using the needle body of skill? From where it's looking, it's clear that it's aiming for the humans behind me. That it's bringing out its stinger now that it's got some distance means that it has to be a long-range skill. If that's the case, there's only one thing I can think of for an attack magic named Needle Body. It's going shoot out needles. I spread out my wings. Dozens of needles suddenly shoot from the tip of its tail. I flap my wings to stir the air, pouring magic into the wind as I do. My wind blade diverts the trajectory of the needles. All of them fall to the ground limply between myself and the manticore. Yeba. I could tell it was going to aim for the humans behind me to distract me, but that's unfortunate for it. Even the manticore can see this is as far as it can go. My status values are a rank higher. Its problematic speed was sealed from the start. I have a status inspection, so I know all its skills. It's also clear that it's got no more cards to play. The manticore slowly gets to its feet, glaring at me with ragged breaths. It searches around with its black eyes. It's probably looking for something to use. Gaba. It's fortunate we were able to settle this in a dead end. The manticore starts ramming into the wall with its body. The entire cave shakes with each impact. Could it be trying to open a hole to escape? If so, there's no way it could succeed this late on. I charge toward it, raising my 4-foot high. This is the end. Gaia. The moment I swing my claw with the intention of sending its head flying, its body shrinks. A split second later, it has transformed into a brown-haired woman. I immediately divert my swing. My claw sticks into the ground. This, at its final moments, it's using humanization technique. Flustered, I raise my other 4-foot into the air, but hold it steady too.
Oi, what are you doing?
Receiving my partner's thought, I regain my composure. As I'm putting force into my foreleg at that time. I'm sorry. Covering its face with its arm, the manticore repeats words of apology. Its appearance is all too fragile. This thing is a monster that has been preying on the Lithovar tribe for a long time now. Not only has it harmed them directly, but it has also instigated doubt in the dragon god, causing the village in two and forced them to bring it live food. It's been tormenting them as it pleases. Even Arrow was killed by it. And yet after all that, to do this is just cowardice. Even though my head is convinced, my foreleg doesn't move. The manticore's human form is tall for a female type, and it gives an impression of delicateness. Perhaps because it looks so weak, it's such a far cry from the human-eating monster I know it to be. I can't finish my swing. My arm feels heavy as though it's made of lead.
Oi, pull yourself together.
Against my best judgment, I lower my arm. As though it was waiting for that moment, the manticore raises its face. Despite it being in form, its facial expression is anything but human. A sneer packed with malice is plastered on its face. Bloodlust seeps through the narrow gaps between its eyelids. The way its huge mouth splits open is proof that it has already begun to undo its humanization. Its tongue hangs loosely from its mouth. Its fangs grow larger and larger. Bracing itself with its uninjured leg, it leaps out towards my throat. It's fast. It's probably putting all its remaining strength into this one attack. Gebbage bage baba. I fell for it. By the time I realize that, the manticore's fangs are already in my neck. Just below my chin, its fangs are stabbed in deeply. Gah! My head goes numb. That reminds me, it had the paralysis bite skill. Damn it! I should have known it would try a sneak attack from its status and how it's acted so far. The manticore steadily returns to its monster form. At the time it finishes, it separates from my throat. My partner has bitten into its own throat and is pulling it off me. The paralysis mustn't have reached her yet. The manticore flies through the air, blood spewing from its neck. It impacts the ground, belly up. My partner spits out its blood. As always, you're too naive. I am aware of that. I really am glad you're here. Applying pressure to the bite wound, I use auto-regeneration to heal the punctures. The wounds quickly close and the numbness fades. Characteristic skill 1, paralysis resistance, has risen from level 5 to 6. I look towards the manticore. The sound of its chattering teeth rings out, then it stops moving completely. 2044 experience points have been acquired. Due to the title skill Walking Egg, LV-, an additional 2044 experience points have been acquired. The level of Ouroboros has risen from 61 to 65. For the first time in a while, I gain a large amount of experience points. Title skill Brave Hero has risen from level 2 to 4. Oh, it skipped a level. In terms of status, the manticore was the biggest threat I've yet faced, surpassing even the giant centipede. Normal skills Star Drop, LV2, Nutcracker, LV3 have transformed into Heaven's Drop, LV3. Normal skill Return to Ground, LV1 has been acquired. This isn't it the skill the hero had? Is this okay? It won't infect me with his bad personality, will it? Suddenly, I remember something from when I was fighting the hero. Towards the second half of our fight, when he summoned that insect swarm, I'm sure he said this frowny face too. Foo. Foo-hoo. Foo-hoo. You've really, truly pissed me off. You know that? I've had enough. I'm going to curse this whole country to death. Apart from me who has holy, no one will be spared. Not you, not Adofu, not the damned priest, not that beast man, not a single one of them. All of them will suffer and die. You shouldn't have chased me around so persistently. You can regret that in hell. Guessing from what he said, holy is a skill that can cancel out curses. If I could learn it from the brave hero title skill, then wouldn't I be able to control the dragon scales curse that I scatter around? 1. This is probably a mistake and is meant to say resistance skill. 2. Chapter 213. 260 Return. Seeing the blood pouring out of the manticore's corpse, I breathe a sigh of relief. My partner drools as she looks at the corpse. Please don't eat that. Seriously. It's been eating Lithovar people. Even indirectly, I don't want to eat humans. When we next get given an offering, I'll leave it for you, so please hold back for now. AAA, but would you be able to meet the eyes of the kids you spoke to in that cave? In its belly are there relatives and friends you know? Well, I'm not that hungry at the moment. She looks away from the manticore. Great, I was able to persuade her. I turn around and notice Yarg. Has his spear readied as he looks between myself and the manticore, all composure lost. There's no strength in his grip. It looks like he's struggling to work out what is happening. Similar to Yarg, Tatark has a look of bewilderment on his face. That's why, when I pass by them in silence, I don't get stabbed in my side.
W8.
W, what are you?
W, what on earth are you?
Leaving Yarg's shouts behind me, I exit the cave. With this village will no longer have to live in fear of the manticore. I was also able to avenge Arrow. I suppose I'll return to around that village. Since Yarg and Tatark saw me take down the manticore, with any luck the divide over the dragon god will be resolved. Though it'll take some time. The rift between them is deep after all. It would be good if I can persuade the dragon god side though. After leaving the cave and walking for a bit, presence perception picks up on something. I stop and wait, then spot Yarg chasing after me.
Why did you come here? What were you thinking? Answer me.
Are you really a daughter of the dragonfolk tribe from that time? A nuisance has arrived. I need to go and meet up with Arrow already.
Ga-wa-wa.
My partner roars.
Hi.
Yarg collapses to the ground, his spear falling from his hands. His eyes are pinned to the figure of my enraged partner. Roar is a skill meant to keep monsters in check by making them falter. It's not something that an ordinary human can withstand from the front. For that matter, won't it become a trauma for him? With this, he won't keep chasing. My partner transmits, proud.
Well, yeah, that would be the case though.
From then on, I use presence perception as I roam around the forest in search of Arrow. Her presence is a little different, so she should be easy to find. It's great that it's easy for me, but I have to hope Amiko hasn't spotted her. I find Arrow sitting on a tree root. Carried in her arms is a rabbit-like creature. Upon seeing me, she gets up and, apparently delighted, comes closer. As she does, the rabbit she was holding falls to the ground. It lands neatly and follows after her. She was hugging it quite a lot. Is that really a rabbit? I look closer and I see it doesn't have any fur. For that matter, its body surface looks like it's made of hardened earth. Its body is fragile because after it takes a few steps, its rear legs crumble. Could it be? Reviana pet, F-rank monster. A general term for monsters created using magic to make flesh out of earth. Monsters of the Reviana family produce it in large quantities. Although individually weak, as it is usually produced endlessly, it can become highly problematic. It's not that it could be it, is it? She made it with her a clay doll skill. Don't go making too many of them, okay? Arrow nods her head and picks up the clay rabbit, stroking its head. As she touches it, its damaged parts are restored. Now that she's made it, she's got to look after it properly. Yeah. However, I revived Arrow with the soul of Penman fake life, and Arrow has now created a clay rabbit with a clay doll. The clay rabbit won't go on to create more allies, will it? I'm getting the feeling that I've started a bad vicious cycle. Was Ore? Arrow pulls her eyes away from the clay rabbit and looks at me. After a moment's thought, I determined she must have wanted to ask was it okay?
Guh. I nod my head.
Delighted, the tension in her expression fades away.
IGLA.
Probably, her difficulty in speaking will be resolved with her next evolution. It's one more away. At her current stage, she's pretty much got a human form already. In her next one, she shouldn't look any different from a human. Together with Arrow, we move towards the dragon god's shrine. Along the way, I once again see Rarens, faintly glowing green. In a distant tree, 3 of them are sitting down, watching us like before. I'd like them to stop, since being stared at like that is rather unsettling. If they have something to say, I'd rather they come out and say it. My partner lightly licks around her mouth with her tongue. The 3 of them stand up on the branch like they've noticed something before jumping off together. As they're falling, they suddenly disappear midair. Be strong, partner.